Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our first online lesson. Today, we are focusing on the social implications of technology. So, what we need to understand is that technology has both positive and negative implications to society. And we mostly talk about what we benefit from technology. For instance, you are viewing this lesson live from your homes. So we are communicating remotely and you're able to get an education despite the fact that the coronavirus has impeded um, um, physical learning. So the first thing I want us to look at is a video. And this video is based on the concept of cyberbullying.
I am a victim.
Bullies. They come in all types of shapes and sizes.
Cyberbullying has become a huge issue in today's life.
Nearly 43% children have been bullied online.
People don't realize
Bullying
the impact that their words
are 2
have.
to 9 times more
I've
likely
seen so
to
many
consider
comments on social
committing
media
suicide.
before where people
I
tell
feel like
people
online
to
bullies are a
either
little
die
bit more
or kill
brave than
themselves.
bullies in person because
This is not
they
right.
don't have the
There are
element of getting
those
caught.
that act
Don't allow
as if they are
anyone
your
to rule your
friends.
life because of things that they
But
insecure
Some
about.
bullying
cyberbullying
on social
I
media
can't
crosses
imagine
the
just so
line
that
to
they
the
could make
extent where
get
themselves
attacked
You
just
can do
because
this.
of who they
You
are,
flourish.
suicide.
You make
for
the
being
best of what
short
you
or
have,
for
and
having
you show them
glasses.
that you are bigger and
Some things
stronger
people
than they
just
are.
don't
every
have the
day. You
choice
get
in.
told
They're
not to
being
be who
bullied
you
over.
are.
It's crazy.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
It ends
It ends.
It ends
Today.
So after having seen that video based on cyberbullying, tell me, what do you think? What do you think of the whole concept of people going online and hiding behind a screen and sending all sorts of mean comments about either your appearances or as different individuals, or the way you speak, or different things about you? And they pick those different qualities and they critique you or criticize you on those qualities. What do you think of such? Okay, I'm seeing comments on our WhatsApp group. Yes, let's say, oh, yes. So cyberbullying goes beyond the effects of just saying words, right? Words have meaning, and when you hurt people, they tend to internalize that pain. So it is no different to when a bully in school would approach you and steal your lunch money. The only difference is that it is now being done online. So it is now remote. You understand? So we shouldn't take away from the fact that it is still bullying. And those are the impacts of technology as far as what happens to an individual's psyche as soon as they start reading those mean comments, or as soon as they start seeing a video of them naked being passed around. So yes, what you say, Tabo, is related to what Lesego has just said. It speaks to how we treat each other, whether or not we can see each other in person, or whether or not we are able to make physical contact. The fact that you're not saying those words to the person's face doesn't mean they don't get hurt. And we've seen a couple of movies whereby an individual, such as the series 13 Reasons Why, and thank you for pointing that out, Tabiso. The series 13 Reasons Why goes to the extent of exploring what happens to an individual psychologically and how that psychological impact affects their decisions. So the girl ends up committing suicide because of what happens to her in school. And pictures of her naked are being passed around, her being criticized online, such things. So the next video I want us to look at is what happened with Facebook.
You're about to hear Zuckerberg grilled by members of the U.S. Senate, asked about your personal information getting into the wrong hands. ABC's Mary Bruce was right there in the room.
Embattled Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg entered a packed hearing room, stepping into the congressional hot seat for the first time. The 33-year-old who invited billions to trust him with their personal information on his social network began with an apology.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
But senators weren't satisfied.
After more than a decade of promises to do better, how is today's apology different?
So we have made a lot of mistakes in running the company.
Zuckerberg was grilled about why Cambridge Analytica, the political consulting firm hired by the 2016 Trump campaign, was able to improperly harvest the personal information of 87 million Facebook users.
So that video pertains to what happened with Facebook after the Cambridge Analytica scandal, after millions of American voters had their information stolen and used for the Trump election. So it speaks to our privacy online. What happens with the information you share with such social networks as Facebook? Have you ever thought about what happens to the contact details, for example, that you volunteer to Facebook and to Twitter and to Instagram, all those social media giants? What happens to the information you share with them? So after what happened with the Cambridge Analytica scandal, there was an article released based on Mark Zuckerberg and the promises he made about how Facebook would later change its privacy regulations. So this article is entitled "The Cambridge Analytica Scandal Changed the World, but it didn't change Facebook." So people were informed of what happens to their information, or what is more likely to happen to their information when they share it with such social media giants as Facebook. But now it would seem like the promises made by Zuckerberg were not met and were not fulfilled. So it says, a year after the devastating revelations of data misuse, Mark Zuckerberg still hasn't fulfilled his promises to reform. And it's by The Guardian. And I mentioned that it's an article by The Guardian because it's generally a trusted news source, but we all know of fake news and what has been shared, information about celebrities having died, and only to find that it's not true. So fake news forms part of the social implications of technology. So, for example, what does Facebook do in order to curb such websites who publish erroneous or incorrect information on its platform? Yes, Michaela. So Michaela is asking, how do we know that we can trust a news source? So it would generally boil down to you. Before I answer that, what do you guys think? What do the rest of you think? Okay, Brandon says it is basically a matter of having to check with other news sources and to cross-reference the information you see on that particular news source at the time and to confirm whether or not the information is true. Yes, that's part of it, Brendan, you're right. So it's part of your research. So you have to be independent in that you do your own research and you check, you fact check, you check whether or not the information you're seeing is correct. And that will eliminate the tendency to share information that is incorrect. So do not just merely trust what you see, but do your own research and check whether or not the information is correct. Thank you so much for your engagement. After this, I want us to look at this lady. Which of you can tell me who this lady is? So her name is there, Penny Sparrow. So 2 years ago, Penny Sparrow shared a Facebook post of hate comment where she claimed that Black people were littering the beaches. So she claimed she is inconvenienced by Black people because every time they go to beaches, they litter. This is hate speech, and what later happened to her was that she lost her job and she was asked or ordered by the courts to pay a certain amount of money for the hate comments she made. So what I want you to realize is that you are not just behind a screen. It is illegal to do such things. It is illegal to bully someone online. It is illegal to post hate speech. And you can be prosecuted in a court of law for that. These are the things we need to come to terms with. You create a social media. Last week, we spoke about how one creates a social media identity. That is no different to the identity that you have as an individual in real life. You shouldn't distinguish between the two, because when you do, you tend to be of a different mindset and to think that what you do has no social implication or it does not affect others. So the way we should behave online should correspond to the way we would in real life. You understand? And that is exactly the same point that Melissa is bringing across on our chat group. The last article I want us to look at is this one. And it pertains to a rather common or influential social media platform called TikTok. So what happens on TikTok is that you share your videos. To those who are not familiar with it, you share videos of yourself doing voiceovers, right? Or using someone else's voiceover and miming to it, right? So it has recently been revealed that TikTok might be, and note the words I'm using, it might be a tool used by the Chinese government to spy on the rest of the world. And this was information revealed by America. Today.com is a journalism platform, an American journalism platform. And this article was released on the 8th of July, 2020. So this year, these are recent news. So as you can see here, it was released on the 8th of July, 2020. And it claims, or it asks rather, is TikTok spying on you? Chinese-owned app under reviewed scrutiny. So this brings to mind such issues as your personal security online. What happens to the information you share? What happens to the videos you share? Is such an application as TikTok being used as a front for whatever a communist government wants to do or wants to accomplish? So these are the kinds of questions I want you to think about. Do you have any questions pertaining to what we've just spoken about? Rose posted a question where she asks, so does it mean I have to leave Twitter? Do I have to unsubscribe and to abandon all social media? Look, what do you guys think? What do you think? Do you think we should abandon our social media identities, our online identities, and rather be safe? Or can we say that we cannot escape the internet or technological revolution? We should just embrace it. What do you think? Martha says we cannot fight technology, we should rather work with it. And I agree with that, because if you've noticed recently with the coronavirus outbreak, we have been forced to use or find other means of communicating. The mere fact that we can't go to school anymore suggests to us that we need to adapt with the times and to find ways of continuing with life, because I personally don't think we should abandon our social identities, because technology is very useful and we should embrace it and rather find more ways of staying safe. This is an opportunity, if anything, for us to find, create platforms, create applications that will ensure the safety of yourself and everyone else, you see. So that brings us to the end of our lesson. Your activity will be posted on our Facebook page, and it is expected of you that you complete it and bring it to our next lesson. Thank you very much, and we will meet again.